So if you remember in the previous video, we have talked about how to draw a graph like this. So now in this video, we are going to talk about different ways, simpler ways in order to add nodes and also simpler ways in order to add edges to a graph. But now let's review this code very fast. So we can see that we have created a graph called G, and we have added some nodes, 5 nodes as a matter of fact, and also we have added some edges, and these are the positions of our nodes. And here we are drawing our graph, which is called G, and using these positions for each node. And we want to have labels, and also the node color is going to be red, the node size is going to be 3000, and the font color is going to be white, the font size is going to be 20, and the font family is Times New Roman, and the font weight is bold, and also the width of the edges is 5. And also we are defining some margins for our chart, and here we are showing the graph. So now if I run the code, you can see here's the output. So for example, in order to add nodes instead of these lines, we can simply type G, which is our graph, and then I can simply type add nodes from, and I can pass a list of nodes. For example, I want to have a node called A, then B, so I should pass them in a list. So C and D and finally E. So you can see that these are a list of nodes. So that's it. So I can delete all of these lines, and you can see that now I have added these nodes in just one line. So now if I run the code again, you can see here is the exact output. So that's it. But now let's talk about simpler ways in order to add edges to a graph. So in order to add edges, there is a simpler way of doing it. So for example, I can simply type G, which is our graph, and then I simply type add edges from, and I want to add edges from a list of edges. So for example, the first edge we want to add is this one, and the second edge that we want to add is this one, and the third one is this one, and etc. So that's it. Now I can delete all of these lines, and you can see that we have added edges with just one line. So now if I run the code, you can see again we get the same output. So let's minimize all this stuff. And also because in this example, in this specific example, the nodes are strings, the names of the nodes are strings, I can use even a simpler way of doing it. For example, here I can delete all of these, and I can pass a string and including the names of the nodes. So for example, ABCDE are our nodes. So that's it. You can see that the string is an iterable, so we are passing an iterable to this method. And also here there is another way, there is a simpler way of doing it. So for example, instead of typing this, we can pass AC, which is our edge, and also we can pass BC, and here we can pass BD, and etc. So now if I run the code, you can see again we get the same output. So let's close this and let's minimize it. So now suppose that we want to create a graph like this, which you can see the names of the node are numbers, not letters. So in order to do so, that's very simple. I can pass a list of the nodes, which now they are numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I should also replace these letters with numbers. So 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 2 and 4, 3 and 4, 4 and 5. That's it. And also I should change the positions because now the names of the nodes are numbers, not letters. So I should change this to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now if I run a code, you can see here's the output. But remember that because these nodes are numbers, I can't pass such a thing like this. I can't pass this because if I run the code, you can see that I will get error. So remember that because these are numbers, you can't pass them in that format because they are not strings, they are not letters, they are numbers. So you can't use that method, and that method is only for the strings, the letters. And also remember that you can pass different types of nodes. For example, here you can pass a letter, and you can keep the rest of the nodes as numbers. So here I can pass E for, let's say, node 5. So that's it. So let's replace all of them. And now if I run a code, you can see these are numbers, but this node is called E, which is a letter. So there is no problem and you will not get any error. Now I really suggest you to watch this video, which is on the screen now.